So we're so happy to have Renee and Anthony here. I don't know if everybody was here last week, but it was quite an experience, and it's super exciting to have them back. We are Healer Collective. We represent and connect top healers in the space to programs like WellSet, which is the first centralized platform to find and book thousands of wellness providers. So we are amazed at Renee and Anthony's ability to connect to the realms and bring us the information that we so need to hear on a deeper level. And I will let them take it away. Thanks, guys.
Great. Super. So it's lovely to meet all of you. Thank you for having us back. We were here, I guess, last week, and we focused solely on the coronavirus and COVID-19, pretty much, for obvious reasons. But today we thought, you know, and we're certainly happy to address any of those questions. We thought we would explore a bit of the Gnostic teachings and then also how relevant they are for today, including dealing with COVID-19. So we can definitely interject any questions or concerns or fears that you might even have at this time. So all questions are welcome. It doesn't have to be in that box, right? In that category box. We can definitely branch out of that. So we're here for you, and you want to talk a little bit about how we channel?
Yeah, so I don't know how many people are new here, but I'll just let you know about how we channel a little bit before we get started. The channeling itself, the energies that are coming through actually come through Renee first. They'll come through her crown chakra, solar plexus into mine, and then back out of my crown chakra, and it forms a three-dimensional triangle. And that's really how it happens. Everything will come through her first before it comes into me, but I'm the one who's actually feeling it all. And our guides, we have a spiritual team that will come through, and they will refer to her as Gaia. And then they'll start talking. Little by little, you'll see that sometimes there'll be beings that will, as they say, they'll step forward as an individual, and they will announce who they are, and then they will add their...
When he says individual, he means spirit energy, obviously.
Yeah. I guess I'm so used to it now that...
Yeah, we're so accustomed to referring to our team sometimes even as he's and she's, but they're really not.
No, they're not.
They're more like it's and theys.
Pretty much, yeah.
So it's a group of ascended masters that we channel, and they are many, but they speak collectively together as one voice. So what Anthony was referring to, when one energy may wish to come forward, some of the ascended masters could be Mary Magdalene, Kuan Yin, Jeshua, yeah, some of the goddesses. There's obviously no religious dogma in any of this, but I just bring that forward because of some of the ascended masters that we do indeed channel. So it will really depend. Every single time we have a different group, we're always surprised. We never know what to expect. So the energies that come forward are dependent on who is in the room.
Yeah. They will...
And in this case, a virtual room, because energy has no borders or boundaries. So they can feel all of your energy, even if you don't have a photo up here. So that's not necessary to have a photo, because they can feel everything.
So when I go into trance, you'll see a change. My breathing will slow down. I'm not in any pain whatsoever. And it's quite different. I'm fully aware of what's going on as well. It's not such a deep trance that I don't remember. I remember pretty much everything, and I'm aware of what they're saying as well.
Yeah.
Should we talk about the Gnostic Gospels a little bit?
Yeah. Do you want to start?
Does everybody understand or know what the Gnostic Gospels are?
So so you're familiar with the regular Gospels, even if you're not religious, which by the way we are not, or even if you didn't grow up in a Christian faith. The Gnostic Gospels are essentially the Gospels, or the writings, if you like, that were found only in 1945. So these writings were found in a cave in Egypt in 1945, and they include a lot of the left out
writings that
right,
literally the Catholic Church decided
to leave out
for a particular reason, and they never got put into the.
They never got published.
Right.
So they were hidden in this cave for this long, and were found on parchment paper. And there was a collective effort to put this all together, and so you can read about it. Nag Hammadi is actually if anybody's really interested in going deeper with this, I can send you some links. Just send me an email and I'll send you some links, because there's tons and tons of writing. The most extensive is probably the Hammadi, right? Would you not say? Probably that's the most extensive, though there's several other books as well that we can send you. And the biggest piece of this that relates to our work and relates to what's happening now, and even relates to COVID-19, is that one of the most instrumental and integral, I guess you could say, writings that were left out were those of Mary Magdalene, otherwise known as Miriam of Magdala. And obviously over 2,000 years ago, women were not seen or heard. It was a very tough time, and a lot of her stuff, which she was obviously closer, one of the closest disciple, if you like. And so why that's profound is, if you do read the Gospel of Mary, it really talks about, you could say, scripture as being more pagan than anything else, really.
And also some of the other Gospels that are written will also talk about her as being one of the closest disciples of Yeshua, or Jesus at the time, and they mention that.
But a lot of these writings, and the reason that it was really left out of the Judea books and the Christian books, is because it talked about finding God within. So can you imagine, right? There's a reason that the Catholic Church in particular didn't want these writings to come out. And they spoke of, around that time, 50 to 100 years after his death, Gnosticism started emerging in Europe in a big way, and they were considered and called heretics. And they were killed as a result of this. So a lot of people went underground, and even though there were some Gnostic churches that emerged at the time, they didn't last because their lives were threatened. So that's sort of the gist of it. But the idea of the teachings is actually much closer to Buddhism than it is Christianity, in a big way, because it's talking about going inward, finding God or source, or whatever you call the higher light. I call it source. I'm not comfortable with the word God for many reasons, but whatever that is for you, this higher source energy is also within all of us, that we are God, you are God, and that we are unified. We are one universal consciousness. We are all connected. We are all one. So that's the premise of the teachings, and the reason that we thought, it could be useful to talk about now, it's because that going into that inward journey of really the inner knowing of what's going on right now. And if we feel, and our guides will also talk about this when they come through, the idea right now is to go inward, not outward. So there's a lot of fear that's happening right now around COVID-19, but that's happening for a reason, because it's forcing all of us as a collective consciousness to go inward, really reflect and understand that this is just Gaia correcting herself.
One of the things too I wanted to mention as well is that when Renee and I first started channeling, many of the messages that were given to us were very similar to what the messages are in the Gnostic Gospels. They would often tell us that the messages have never changed over 2,000 years, that they were always the same.
And when we first started channeling, we didn't even know what the Gnostic
No.
Gospels were, actually. I barely had heard
Yeah,
of Mary
yeah.
Magdalene.
Um,
So it was just interesting that years later, we just started exploring the Gnostic
Yeah.
Gospels in the last year or so. And it's just shocking to see the parallels coming through. And a lot of it is also talking about God or source, and this is the pivotal part for what's happening right now, God or source being both feminine and masculine, that there's two sides to this, right?
Yeah.
And the whole feminine energy has been left out of teachings
Mhm.
for over 2,000 years, and we know how that's impacted women. So, you know, that's one of the reasons that we channel together. We didn't know it at the time, but when the energy comes through me, through Anthony, it forms an infinity 8. And so the energy moves back and forth between us to literally weave the divine masculine and divine feminine together in order to heal. So all of this has been a long process for us to understand that, but how this relates to what's happening now is that it's just indicative of an ongoing problem that we've had on this planet.
For thousands of years.
Well, in
Wow.
particular over the last, couple
Right.
hundred years, where we just really haven't cherished, nourished, embraced, taken care of our planet. And so this was, in a way, our guides talked about this last week, that this was a collective consciousness of humanity calling forth COVID-19. They've sent other wake-up calls and we didn't listen. So this is a big one, but it's one that's really literally forcing us to go inward.
And they're starting to really emphasize the divine feminine with divine masculine and having them come together again as one energy. And our guides will start to talk about that, about why Renee represents the divine feminine and I represent the divine masculine. Again, this is something that's only been maybe a couple years that we're actually starting to realize this, because in the beginning we had absolutely no idea what was going on. But we do now. We understand it much more. Are there any questions that you'd like to ask right now?
Well, Anthony's still Anthony.
I'm still here.
We can just get started. Okay. So Ashley, I don't know how you want to do questions, if you want to do it to have people raise their hands on the bottom, or do it the way that we did. Someone just asked, how did you start channeling?
Oh, that's a good question. It wasn't easy, that's for sure. It was something that was more spontaneous than anything else.
It's not like we sat there
No.
one night and said, let's go learn how to channel.
It was a very long process. It's been about 10 years now in the making. And in the very beginning, the first 5 years, when I lived in New York City in the Bronx, things were happening, but I had no idea what was going on. And at that time I was married and I was with married to my ex, and I had my children there. And it all manifested in excruciating pain throughout my mouth, and my body would shake uncontrollably. It wasn't a very good opening whatsoever.
Yeah, if you're going to have a Kundalini awakening, make sure it's in Marin where they'll give you herbal tea, because if it happens in the Bronx, they'll put you on
Morphine, which isn't a very good way to open up.
So, but when we met, everything shifted pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Those of you who are familiar with what's called twin flame energy, that's what we are. And when that got ignited, we actually met at our high school reunion.
There are no coincidences.
We won't say what year, but that brought out and ignited everything, because his soul is an offshoot of my soul. And so everything started happening rapidly. But in the beginning, he could not move.
No, I couldn't control any of it.
Couldn't control any of it. We had to sit in the dark.
All I could do was move my head.
Couldn't have any noise at all. Even if I sneezed, he would jump out of his skin. So it was a very long time.
What you're going to see has been it's been a long process, a long time in the making.
But it's pretty fluid now for the most part.
Relatively, yes.
Relatively so. So great. Okay, perfect. Yes. No. Of course you can ask questions, Celia. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole point, is being able to ask them. Now, the only thing I would just add to that, if it's something personal, like, should I divorce my husband? they're not going to go deep with that in a public forum.
No, they're not going to go really deep in where your energy is from.
Yeah.
That's because it's a little bit too personal at this time.
And it's time consuming for a group of this size. So they won't go there, but they will. So as long as I think it's not too personal, I think it's fine to ask whatever you would like about the soul, the afterlife, the cosmos, COVID-19, if you wish, the consciousness of humanity, or whatever's on your mind, really.
You're going to start seeing me move around a little bit more because I can feel them. They're always here. They never leave. And I can feel them just kind of in my back, and they'll give me tingles up my head, and they'll make my head move around a lot. So they are anxious to come.
So when you let them come, so we have enough time to.
All right. You don't have your magic bowl with you?
I do have my magic bowls over there. A lot of times when I play my crystal bowls, they just come through quickly. And the reason for that, by the way, is that crystal bowls, as the musicians here know, they have their own frequency. And it brings through a lot of the energies that come through that we work with off crystal bowls. More so than any other instruments that we use. So you'll hear his breath slow down to an ujjayi breath. The yogis on the call will be familiar with an ujjayi breath. Everything completely slows down in Anthony's system. Guys.
It is always an honor and privilege to meet you, to be in your presence, Gaia. Thank you for receiving us.
Guys. We are on a call. Now, they're a little bit like children at times.
We are children, in a sense.
So we are on a call with our friends from the Healer Collective. Yay! So they're just feeling everyone's energy now. There's about 30 or so people on the call. So I'm just scrolling through in case that's helpful.
That is good, thank you.
I know you probably don't need that, but it's good to see people's names, actually.
We are happy to see, that is to say, to feel your energies, to be one with all of you. Again, remember, there is no separation between us and you, for you are us and we are you as well. Remember who you are. You are not separated. You are never separated. You are never very far from who we are, and we are you. You only need ask for us, and we will be there. We are always behind you, in front of you, next to you. We will carry you if you need. Whatever it is that you require, we will give unto you, for you give to us as well.
So by we, they obviously there are guides, but all of us have our own guides, right? So by bringing forth the energies that you connect to, it's bringing forth your own guides. And when they speak to any of you, they will always connect, if you like, through permission-based. And so before they talk to your guides about any information, whether it's past life information in the Akashic Records or personal information, it's almost like a soul-to-soul connection and communication, not a human one.
We would like to say this. We can see Anthony now. That is quite unique, isn't it? Your technology is advancing,
Yes, it is.
isn't it? Do you have questions for us? That is why you're here.
How do you find your life purpose? Susie's asking.
Life purpose. That is a good one, isn't it? How do you find your life purpose? We ask this to you.
Let's see if we can find Susie here. We don't need to see your faces, but of course it's always nice for us.
What is it that you find most enjoyable in this lifetime, Susie?
So I'll explain a little bit where they're going with this question. So each of us have what's called a prime energy or a prime source energy, if you like, that we incarnated at this particular time. And it's different in every incarnation. And it's what our soul decided that they wanted to, that the soul decided to experience in this lifetime. And so often our guides will bring you back to what charges you, right, at a very visceral level, and to start going there with your meditations, because that's where you're going to find the answers.
There is not one particular thing. There is not one thing in this lifetime that you need to do. You only need to find yourself again. You have many different lifetimes. But in this lifetime, sit, find yourself. We already know this about you, that you already know what it is that you enjoy doing most. You always ask, what is my
Life purpose.
Life purpose? But yet you already know your life purpose. We can feel that and sense that.
With her?
Yes, she only needs to do it now. So many are afraid to actually go ahead and do it. But know these things, that during this time, when you feel most separated from everybody, this is the time to go inward. This is the time to really know who you are, to feel your connection with God or goddess, however you decide to call it, with the oneness, universal consciousness. And in these things, when you connect, then you will find your purpose. But do have no fear. Don't build a wall of resistance.
Yeah, so when you have resistance, and this is whether, I mean, there's so many different ways to connect, right? You can meditate. I sit on my paddleboard and stare at the birds. There's countless ways to meditate, and there's no wrong way to do it. But the key is allowing, so that when you're allowing to receive, they won't come to you unless you ask them. And B, you can't have fear. You know, you can't have fear of allowing that connection and that communication to happen. And that's when you're going to get your soul's answers, if you like.
What is it that they must do when they connect, Gaia? You must have no fear. Sit. Whatever it is that you do, allow yourself to be. And remember who you are. You are of prime source energy, and that is of the goddess or the God source energy. And you are only of light, and only light will come to you. Remember that. You are in control. Your soul is in control. Nobody else is, only you.
So the fear, Susie did respond to that about resistance, and actually it also relates to a question that was sent to us privately which is similar. She says, I feel the transmission is being interrupted by something that may not want the best for me. How can I remain open to only my guide and nothing else?
Very good question. Is there resistance, or is there something that doesn't want you to be the true light soul that you are? Of course there is.
Yeah,
there are many things out there, aren't there?
Right, and this also relates to, and Sierra, we will get back to your question for sure. But Paula, also in the same thread of this, how do you overcome the fear?
How do you overcome the fear? Well, that isn't easy, is it? Or is it? We tell you this, it takes practice. You must practice overcoming the fear by becoming one with those who are in a very high vibrational pattern of frequencies and energies. Birds of a feather flock together, don't they? Be with those who are of a high energy.
Higher vibration.
Yes.
So do you want to explain what you mean by higher vibration?
Play at a higher level, as you say, Gaia. You say that. You explain it well.
So if you're around people or in a community that's pulling you down or thinks that you're crazy, if you're hearing voices or whatever it may be, you're just not in alignment or connecting, that would be considered a lower vibrational energy that's not mirroring you. So if you continue to stay with those people playing at that vibration, you're going to be dragged into a lower vibration. So you really want to go to a community that supports you. The Healer Collective is doing this for people right now, which is great. We do circles that we offer for our community as well, for them to feel safe so that when they open, that they don't feel afraid or alone or crazy. Because a lot of times when people open, things out of the ordinary happen.
That is correct.
And it can seem fearful. So the key is to be in places like, be in forums like we are right now, actually.
Be with those who love you for who you are, not what you want or what they want you to be. Be with those of a higher vibrational frequency, those who will assist you.
And then, I'm going to go back to the sphere thing before we move on to this other question from the private question, and also Susie. And
we would like to mention one thing, that sometimes those who are most against you are those that are the closest to you. You call it family. But remember that your family, that sometimes it seems like they are against you. But in a sense, at the soul level, they push you to go beyond. They push you to open. We know it's difficult to understand this, but Renee can explain.
Yes, I have a sister I don't speak to. But, the truth is that even when you have these energies around you who are not supportive, at a soul level, if you can imagine that two souls are making that decision so that the polarity exists, and when the polarity exists, you're pushed to your life purpose even stronger.
That is correct. Well said, Gaia.
So, but I do want to address the fear thing, and only allowing the guides, or just so you said guide, but there's many guides. So you don't really have one guide.
They may speak as one.
They may speak as one guide, but how to only get the guides that you choose to come to you and nothing else, it's really putting up a protective bubble. So there's various techniques. We actually run a whole online course on this, actually, but for grounding. But the simplest one to share with you now would be what we call a white light prayer. And that's really setting the intention. So when you set an intention and you zip yourself up around a white light bubble, and that you are connecting only with source energy and nothing but source energy, nothing else is permitted to get into my field, nothing can touch my chakras or my auric field, and so it is, right? So it's very much a concrete and aligned intention that you're making. But the most important thing, and you can do this in the mirror, look in the mirror, say the intention, see if your body is aligned with your verbiage, because if your body's like, okay, yes, 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 you know, I think, but your words are saying, I want to be protected. I don't know if you know what I mean, but that has to be in alignment. So your body needs to be in alignment with your voice.
That is correct. And we will tell you this as well. May we show them an angel?
Really?
Really?
Well, can I get Metatron then, because those are kind of.
We really don't have wings, do we?
No.
But why does Anthony sit with angels around him?
I don't know.
We will tell you why. Because in his life, he felt that there was a presence of angels around him. For many of you as well, you'll feel a presence of angels around you as well.
Or it could be goddesses.
It could be anything, but we are giving you an example. Sit with those things that you feel most close to.
It could be elemental energies, right?
Yes.
As well, like fairies and gnomes, or dragons even.
Sit with those. Light the incense, light your candles, and remember who you are. And only the highest and best may come to you. And only your guides may speak with you. So have no fear. Let down the resistance. You are in control.
Yeah.
You are driving.
Yeah, you are driving. So if you're feeling energies that are trying to get in that you don't want, you simply say, get lost. 3 times you can ask, are you from source energy? 3 times. It's the law of the universe. They have to leave. So
That is correct.
So, okay, we can get back to that, but I want to make sure that we also address, Sierra is asking, do you know how long the pandemic will last?
The pandemic. 1 second, please.
Okay. So sometimes when they say 1 second, or you hear clicking voices, he is connecting with other energies. So we have our core guides, which are ascended masters. And if they want to pull in other energies that can better answer a question, that's what they're doing now.
Your pandemic has always been here. It has never left you. But we understand your question here as it relates to the earth realm. How long will it last?
If you want to talk a little.
We will tell you this.
Yeah. Tell also, for people who were not on the call last week, why it's here.
Why is it here?
And then address how long it will last.
We don't like saying that sometimes. Okay, we will say it. Why is it here? It's here for a particular reason. For the very reason that you're online at this time, because you are connecting with many more human beings. You may feel like you are completely isolated, but this pandemic is showing you that it is universal. It is everywhere. It is your earth, that it is connected to all humanity, and that you are not alone. And not only are you not alone in your humanity, but you are not alone in your spiritual realm, that you truly are connected to one. From many, there is one. And you are from one, and you are many, and you will always be connected. Not only in the earth realm, but also within a spiritual realm as well. And that is one very important reason why this is occurring. Another reason it is occurring is because Mother Gaia is correcting herself. The feminine energy is correcting itself in many ways. The earth, Gaia, who gives, is now correcting herself. We know it sounds a bit strange and sometimes it can be cruel. However, this is how the earth corrects itself. She does it in this manner. It is also true that you as a human species have called upon this pandemic. It is through a universal consciousness that has called it forth. As a result, you are going through an ascension process, an enlightening, and that is what's going on.
Yeah, and people who are really resistant to waking up to what's happening and how we were treating the environment and how we were treating each other, they're being forced to wake up, right? They're absolutely being forced.
But there will be others who do not wake up still.
Yeah. And then, but also, how long will it last?
How long will it last?
So I mean, we do have some feedback from some close doctors on our advisory board who, some of them are on the front line. So we can give you an idea of what they say.
We see this.
But I'll let them speak first.
In your autumn, the fall, things will be much better. However, there will still be precautions that you must take as a result. It really won't be finished
Until?
There really is no finish for it. As a human species, you must all gain immunity of it, for it.
But will that take a couple of years?
Yes, it will. But in the fall, things will be much better. That is when your leaves are turning. That is when things will even out. That is when we see people coming together again. We tell this to you. You will have a greater respect for one another, a greater love than ever before. And you will feel a connectedness to each other like you've never done before. You will hug each other. You will kiss and embrace each other again in a way that you've never experienced. And you will start to understand your oneness with each other and the oneness with the universal consciousness that we refer to as God or Goddess.
Hopefully people will be hugging trees too.
That so.
And then just from our MD friends, one of who is one of the top doctors in the infectious disease center in Atlanta, is saying that the peak will be April 28th through the first half of May, when we'll really start seeing more dangerous levels. But I wouldn't stick to that, because there's different interpretations of this and different opinions on it, and opinions are all over the place, but that's the information that we're getting roughly.
This is not an easy period.
No.
Whatsoever.
Yeah, the next 4 to 5 weeks will be the toughest, I think, right?
That is correct. What do you do in the meantime?
Connect virtually. Get out in nature, walk, spend more time with children, spend more time with your families.
If you can.
Get creative, start doing visualizations and creative journals. This is a great time for that, to start manifesting things on paper.
This is the time of creativity now. This is the time where you find your purpose, your life purpose. What it is you've always wanted to do, how you've always wanted to love, paint, play music, connect with us.
So, Tegan, is it Tegan or Tegan? Tegan. Love the name. I fear my life purpose is at odds with being present. This cannot be possible, can it? That's a good one. I mean, being present is really when you can connect, and that's when you can really hear what your soul says. Why do you fear that? I'm curious. If you can also unmute your microphone, or you can just text it.
Maybe it's easier for me to just tell you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I think a few people texted me something really similar, so I think I'm speaking for a few people here, but sometimes it feels like you've found your purpose and it's or I feel like I found my purpose, and I feel like I work on things that help a lot of people and can change the world. I think people on the line feel that way as well. But it almost seems like I have to sacrifice myself for it. And I feel like that really can't be the case, that my presence and peace has to be sacrificed for a greater mission.
A sacrifice.
Because you want to change the world.
Well, because it needs to be changed in some ways, no? Maybe not.
I remember when I was your age.
Do not look at things as a sacrifice.
Yeah.
You're looking at it upside down, inside out. Look at it as a joy, a love, something that it is that you have always felt deeply inside of you. It is not necessary to martyr yourself for finding yourself. Let go of the shadows. Let go of the resistance. There is no sacrifice here.
Yeah, and if you feel like it's a sacrifice, it may not be your life purpose. Because when you step into your life purpose, it doesn't feel like a sacrifice. It just feels aligned.
Everything should flow.
Everything should flow, yeah. So maybe something that you think is your life purpose isn't necessarily your life purpose. You know, we have a friend who's a landscape architect, and she's, you know, just amazing with putting together gardenscapes, and, you know, she keeps feeling that she should be doing more for the environment because she cares so much about it. And so she's like, all I'm doing is a landscape architect. You know, so she feels, she sort of makes herself small rather than understanding what she is doing is her purpose, and she's doing so much more than she can even imagine. But she's trying to think up here when really she has so much inner joy doing what she's doing, and she is giving back to the earth. So that's a good example. A lot of times we are in our purpose with joy, with fluidity, but we sometimes think that we have to do more.
That is correct, and we know people like that.
Yeah, I might be there too.
We say to you, and we say to Renee and Anthony, heal one soul at a time.
Yeah.
And be at peace and harmony with that. And then everything else will flow and come to you.
Yeah.
In time.
Yeah, because when you're in that resistant place, you're stopping the flow.
Is there another question?
So don't overthink it. Get out of your head, get into your heart. Well, there's one privately, but it's a great one. So I won't mention the name. Will we have full disclosure of ETs in this lifetime? I'm curious what you mean by ETs.
ETs.
Oh, no, actually, I'm curious what you mean by full disclosure from ETs.
In this lifetime.
We have some galactic beings also on our spirit team, by the way. So they're made up of a combination. A lot of people will channel galactic energies, or they'll channel angelic realm, or they'll channel very specific groups. We actually can bring them all through, which is
full disclosure of ETs.
Yeah. So it depends what you mean there, but we can certainly have some of them come through right now if you want.
We will tell you this. We understand your question, and we are laughing all together. You, as a human species, is an ET. You just don't know it. But we know what you mean. Do you wish to know whether there will be a full disclosure, a coming out? The telling the truth.
Well, it's happening more and more
Yes.
with our channelers. I mean,
in your lifetime, we will say this to you. Within the next
5 years or longer. They're in the Akash records right now, Akashic records.
25 years, there will be contact.
They're showing different timelines also. I don't know if everyone's familiar with timelines, but Here showing him different timelines. So more and more people are channeling galactic energies. We channel them too. It's just not our prime energy that we bring forth. But we're getting a lot of information on a regular basis from them. Are you here?
We are your galactic team.
So is everyone familiar with galactic energies? Pleiadians, Sirians, they are on our team, and they just came through. So unlike our spirit guides, so our spirit guides plug in to Anthony's auric field, and our galactic team who's here right now, they connect through his consciousness, which is...
We connect through his DNA structures and codes, and we will tell you these things as well, that your DNA codes and structures are a part of ours as well. We are with you. We are among you. We are already here. You are a part of the galactic family. You are a part of us as well. You have a bit of us and a bit of others in you. There is no one particular being that you are. You are a combination of, we will say this, the best and the highest.
So some of you may have a prime energy that is more galactic in this lifetime. So they are among us now, walking.
In your next 20 years, we will make full contact with the human race. And by then you will be ready to accept life beyond your own. Your process of understanding now, ascending higher vibration, is becoming something that you have been waiting for a long time. You have been waiting a very long time. We hope that this is adequate in responding to you, but we are here already. We are the galactic team that is aiding both Renee and Anthony at this very time. We are a part of who they are as well. They have accepted us as, they say, family.
This took a while.
It did, didn't it?
You're so serious.
We are not serious. It's time now for us to go.
Okay. Thank you.
We know we are not your prime energy at this time, Gaia,
Thank you.
but we understand what you are doing now and the purpose for it. And we are in support of you as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So our galactic team is going to leave now. It's harder for Anthony to hold their energy because it's from it's such high dimensions that it's hard, because he does full embodied channeling. So it's just much harder for him to hold it for very long. I can assure you I was not happy when they first appeared. I was scared out of my mind, actually. Wasn't I?
You were not a happy camper.
I was not a happy camper when they first arrived.
The Pleiadians came to you first.
Yeah, I was terrified. But it took a long time to understand. So Layla writes, how can I find more peace and calmness in a toxic environment currently because of the condition not being able to get out of the house for too long and currently trying to overcome pain from earlier this year? So you can't get out of the house very often. Where do you live? Are you in a cold environment? Oh, yes, Christina. We can. So I don't know why she can't get out of the house, but wanting to find more peace and calmness.
That is difficult, isn't it? To be in a house that is toxic. We can only say this to you. There must be a place. Try to find a location in your home that you make it yours. Make it sacred and holy. Make it a space of light, of beauty, that you consider your space, in your space alone. And it is in that space that you can meditate and pray, where you can connect to us and you connect to your gods and goddesses, whatever it is that you want to refer to, but that is the area that you consider yours. It is a space of clarity, no toxicity, of higher dimensions.
Higher dimensions and higher frequencies, and tapping into those dimensions will help boost your immune system.
Yes, and it does alleviate the pain.
Yeah.
The pain may not go away completely, but it does help to alleviate it.
So, tap into, there's also healing music online. We've never been in a better place to be able to get 432 hertz music, or which has to do with the spleen and an anxiety and fear. So there's different hertz music out there that's literally related to every organ and cleansing every organ. So find that online. If you have questions about that, just let us know and we can point you in the right direction. But there's just so many different frequency music that can assist in organ healing, alignment, and also with a spleen is really related to fear of resistance, change, and our immunity. In Eastern medicine, it is also connected to the transition between seasons as well, which is what we're going through now. So Christina wants to know an example of a grounding prayer. I think it might be better to answer questions and maybe send that, if that's okay. We have a couple that we can send you. It's more of a grounding meditation, and we could do, I don't think we'd have time to do that right now, but we can definitely send it to you for sure.
Yes.
Can you pull in a being, Holly wants to know, of the highest energy vibration to bless anyone, to bless everyone here with a massive heart awakening and healing? Yes, we can. So here's my question. How much time do we have? Because we can do that at the end, but there's a lot more questions here too.
We will call in that energy at this time.
Okay, there's a lot of really great questions here, but just let us know how much time we have, if we can go over a little to be able to take another question or two. And we are also doing on Wednesday, I'm trying to remember, Wednesday, we are doing a session similar to this actually, but it's targeting really light workers and healers and practitioners, but you don't have to be one to join. That's 2 o'clock on Wednesday. We're going to be doing something similar for about an hour and 15 minutes. And then on Thursday night, we're doing one of our Blue Soul Circles, which have always been in person, but we're going to do it online for the first time. And that is a much more sacred space, so it's private. And so you can bring up personal questions because we won't be live streaming that one. And that's Thursday at 5.
That's awesome. We have like 10 minutes to
Okay.
for 6.
Okay.
We can go till 5:15 5:50, I believe, or 5:45, let's say, PST.
Okay, so
5:45, yeah.
so I think we have to jump off at 5:30, but that still gives us what, another
Half an hour.
yeah, that gives us another half an hour.
I am the consciousness of Christos energy. For I am of love.
So Talia, you called in Christ consciousness.
Perfect.
So
Even though this is about Gnosticism, maybe you can explain that.
yeah, so well, let's so Christ consciousness is a consciousness of divine love. So this has nothing to do with religion at all, or it has nothing to do with Christ. It has to do with the Christos energy, of which the man who once walked the earth plane as Jeshua carried within him. Right. The energy. So it's the energy Christ, he's just said, it's not the man, he's not the soul of the man that was Jeshua. It's the Christ consciousness energy of which Jeshua carried with him. It's a very strong energy for him to hold as well.
I am the soul that once was, is you refer to as
Jeshua or Yeshua or Jesus.
yes. I contained the energy of Christos. But I am here to tell you the same thing. The energy that I had given to others, the energy that I once was, is the energy that you are as well. There is no separation between you and the Father, you and the Mother, you and God. It is all one. You are the same as I once was. I was only there to give the message to those who would hear. I say unto you these things. If you have ears, then listen. If you have eyes, then see. Be the love that I once was, and give unto all those in your presence unconditional love. Raise the vibration. There was no separation between me and the Father. We are one. That was my prime message at the time as well. Miriam, Mary of Magdala, she was my teacher, lover, friend, healer with me as well. We heal together as one, and we heal again today as one. I am who I am. I am the soul who once walked upon this earth, whom you call Yeshua, Jesus, Isa.
Can you explain the Christ consciousness?
Yes, the Christ consciousness is an energy of pure and divine love. It is an energy that circles not only this planet, but all planets where there is life or there is a potential for it. All beings that inhabit a planet will have Christ consciousness. You refer to it as Christ consciousness, but it is simply a divine energy of love. And that is my message to all of you as well. that you are of a divine energy of love, and there is no separation between you and divinity. For you are divine in all actions, in all words, in all things that you do. Do you have a visitor coming, Gaia?
We have a visitor.
Another one.
Oh, okay. Mary Magdalene wants to come through. Okay. We've only been channeling her for a few months, maybe 6 months now. A little longer. Hello.
It is nice to see you again, Gaia. I love the name that they give to you. Now,
Yes.
my lover, my partner was speaking. I want to tell you these things as well, that we heal together, we pray together.
There's a lot of women.
I know. That is why I'm here. They were trying to hold me back a bit, but I said, it's time for me to come forth, and here I am. Now, what are we going to do together, women? What are we going to do together? We are going to raise this vibration now. We are going to be the feminine energy that we are. They will not stifle us anymore. It is time. Gaia is speaking. Gaia has spoken, and I am here now to give you the message as well. Divine feminine and divine masculine must be equal. And that is what is going on at this very moment. You see divine feminine and divine masculine here together at this time.
Can you explain how, even with COVID-19, that more men are being...
There is a disproportionate amount of male energy that is not able to sustain the viral infection.
Marlene, this addresses your question. We'll go deeper than that, but this touches on your question.
And there is no mistaking for it. You understand that. There are reasons for it. There are physical reasons, and there are also spiritual reasons as well. But know these things, that is what is occurring now on your planet. I am Mary of Magdalene, the other half. It is always an honor and privilege to be in all of the presence, those feminine and even those masculine at this time. For I represent both the masculine and feminine energy now, as they weave together as one, as you will do as well. May the love of God be with all of you.
Goddess.
And may the goddess be with all of you as well. For it is truly one energy, and one energy alone. It is a message that both Yeshua and I try to give, that there is no separation, and there never was, and there never will be. For you are the goddess, and you are the God, woven together as one. You need only call upon me, and I will be there. I will speak to you, I will assist you, and if you allow me to speak through you, I will be honored. And with that, I give you my peace, both I and Yeshua. The peace we are, we give unto you. She's quite the lady, isn't she?
Strong.
She always has been the dominant one.
So,
It is time now for us to leave.
well, hang on, just one more thing, because Marlene was asking, you know, a male, the husband passed away from COVID-19, and how is this justified if they were sweet people? So there's, do you want to talk about how souls, there are souls when we decide to come and serve the purpose of recorrecting.
How is it justified that a mother who has children dies? How is it justified that a baby, a child, dies? How are these things justified? There is no justification anywhere. There are no laws. We do not justify anything. It is the soul that judges itself. The soul has its own journey. This is the most difficult of messages to give. That all things, all actions, as Yeshua and Mary of Magdalene said, that all actions are divine. There is no separation between you and God or goddess. Therefore, all things that you see as being death, we see as being life. Again, a new renewal of life. We understand the connection, the human connection that you have. But we tell this unto you, that remember, the soul has its own journey. And many times, no matter what it is that we try to do to save the body, the human, the vessel, the soul has its own plan. And there is nothing that you can do about that. If the soul decides to change, then it will. That is possible too.
Yeah, the soul can change its original destiny, if you like, or not destiny.
We know
but
how
journey.
difficult it is,
Yeah.
you know.
Because so many, well, and that also speaks to why more men are dying of the virus now as well.
There are reasons for that as well.
And notice we were not seeing children. Do you want to speak to that? Why we're not seeing children die?
Children being born 25 years ago on your earth plane are having a change in their DNA structures. You call it an upgrade. We merely see a change occurring in your DNA structures. Children are not subject to the viral infection as the older, those who have not been born during that time. You see it as that the younger have better immune systems. That too is true. However, there is a difference in their DNA crystallizations. We understand that this is difficult too.
Well, our DNA structure, as we ascend and evolve as a species, it's moving closer and closer to a crystalline structure, is what we're being told.
That is correct. One day you will be there, but it will take 1,000 years or so. It all depends upon how you, as a human species, desires to ascend, to vibrate at a frequency that is much higher and less dense than what it is now. Was that good, Kaya?
I guess so.
We do not wish to shed tears to Anthony, but we feel the pain that you are.
Can you give some healing energy? I scroll through here. I'm going to change the screen so it's in a different viewpoint. Adjusting frequencies and adjusting energies. Think of it like an old car, pulling out things that aren't serving. Putting in healthier pieces. That's the simplest version of what they're doing with this frequency adjustments. Can you explain that one? That's new. I just did something new, so I'm not sure what that was. Can you explain what that last thing was? No, I know, but
Family.
the connecting to us, what was that for?
Because you and Anthony are of divine feminine and divine masculine energies. You go straight to source, and you know that. All those now who are connected will be of source energy prime 1. You go directly to source now. What a beautiful family you have. It becomes larger.
It does become
And
larger.
larger.
I wish that we could see people's faces.
No need to see. We feel them all. We sense them all. We
That-
know all of the frequencies.
But I'm human, so I would like to see them. I'm just putting down here, everyone, that's our, oops, hang on.
Your galactic family.
I'm just
Tuning.
typing the last link that I just sent. That's a private Facebook group that we have that I just wanted to invite you guys all to join, because that's where we post a lot of our online events, and we have them in person too, and will again when this whole thing blows over. But for now, we'll be doing a couple a week. Every Thursday at 5, we'll be doing a Blue Soul Circle.
It is time for us to leave.
Which is more private. And
Yes, more private.
more private. And then we'll be doing something for healers Wednesday at 2, and then the following, and then we're going to do a special Easter channeling as well. I forgot about that. A very special Easter channeling at 1 o'clock on Easter Day. So
Yes. We will be there,
yeah.
as we always are.
We'll
We wish you good health, peace, an opening of your hearts, an opening of your senses, and a connection now to divine love. And remember, there is no separation between you and us. For you are of divinity. And remember that. We thank you for receiving us, listening to us, and hearing us. This is only the beginning, in a manner of speaking.
Because there's no beginning and there's no end.
Gaia, thank you.
So our guides are going to leave now, and then Anthony's going to be back just momentarily.
That is correct.
We'll be back shortly. Thanks for coming, guys.
Thank you for having us. Thank you for having us. Thank you for receiving us. We are the spiritual team of Anthony and Renee. It is difficult to do, isn't it?
Yes, it is. But you must. So we can get Anthony back. And I'm also just going to put down our email too while they leave right now. Oops. I think I sent that to privately. I didn't mean to do that. Okay, that's our, we'll get to me, sure. So, ooh, are you back? Okay, Anthony's back. So, does anybody have any quick questions about anything? Well, Anthony is now here.
I'm drinking water with some lemon in it.
Yes, it's wonderful meeting all of you, all of you, all of you. Wonderful.